I snooped, I saw, I slithered, till I broke my own heart, and my soul did shiver. There's something about nature, simplicity and its complexity, which the machinations and creations of man can never match. It's grounding to be out here, in the woods, the canopy of the trees. And I wanted to make a video here about animals, about totems, and I figured, what better animal is there to start with than the serpent? Snakes appear in almost every creation myth, across cultures, across continents. It is an archetype, it's a symbol. There's something very unique about it. And whether that's ingrained in our societies or if it's something deeply biological is up for debate. I believe it is both. There have been many studies that have been done to see whether or not the idea of a snake, the image of a serpentine form, if that creates an intuitive fear within us, within primate species in general. It's my opinion that depending on the researcher and their goals, you're going to have different results of those studies. Regardless, animals, mammalians of varying sizes, do seem to have an instinctual fear towards snakes. And it makes sense. Why wouldn't you? Something that could kill you through a single bite. Something that is deceptive, appears to be a vine, a branch, a marking in the path, suddenly move and strike. It's likely that snakes were one of our most terrifying predators when we were still small primates in the trees. Now that we are large primates on the ground, the fear of predation no longer exists. But the danger is still there and still real. The snake represents transformation. It represents maintaining form throughout transformation. When people began to create art, it started off with etchings and patterns. People making marks into tools, into stone, cave walls, whatever it might be. A dot, a line, a spiral, a triangle. Regardless of what is being made, it is a snake. What do I mean by that? The point of contact, a dot, could be interpreted as a coil. One dot to another dot is a line. That is a snake. And so when you're looking at a pattern, every line in that pattern can be a snake. And therefore, a snake can move through a geometric pattern without losing its form. I know this sounds very esoteric and woo-woo, but this is how early people are looking at the world. Not only that, but the snake itself has the geometric pattern of reality on its skin. So the very same etchings that people are producing in tools, figurines, they see these similar patterns occurring within the skin of these reptiles. And these animals are able to shed the skin as well. They transform while maintaining their form. They move throughout the world, but they are always a serpent. Most animals, when they leave imprints throughout the world, it is a footprint or a handprint, a paw print, a hoof print. Snakes are one of the few animals that leave the entirety of their form in the earth itself. So when people are looking at this, they're starting to make myths about how valleys and rivers, how topographical features themselves are being manifested by a serpent deity. And while that seems far-fetched, it lines up with some aspects of reality in terms of the patterns of water tables, the patterns of erosion. These things are very snake-like. The snake represents many things. It is symbolic of the first wound. And we all go through a traumatic experience coming into this world. The very nature of birth is an experience in which there is a sudden change. You are thrust into a new method of being. There's blood, there's contractions. And then many people experience more personal forms of trauma as well. Whether that be through car crashes, familial loss, combat. Everyone is going to have a first encounter with the malevolent nature of reality. And the snake has come to represent an aspect of that encounter. It has come to represent the understanding and the awareness after that encounter. Why? Well, it's possible that evolutionarily speaking, the snake is imprinted in our very genetic code as being that first wound. Arguable. What is not arguable is the fact that snakes did represent real dangers. You could be walking down a path and what you thought was a stick suddenly could lash out, bite you, and end your existence. Quetzalcoatl, Ouroborus, the world serpent, double-headed snakes in indigenous cultures in Vancouver, horned snakes in cultures out of the Mississippi. It's everywhere, it's prevalent, and there's a reason for it. The serpent is one of the first totems, is one of the oldest, and the most widely misunderstood. When you understand what the serpent represents, you see it everywhere. And when you start to look at the world through a serpentine lens, you start to see the world differently. There's a lot more going on than what meets the eye. In nature, in our social interactions, in ourselves. The serpent represents hidden knowledge, but it is not secret knowledge. It is knowledge that anyone can access. These ideas are open to all of humankind, and they connect all of us at a very fundamental level. The Aborigine of Australia believe that all of this came from a dream. And from Australia to South America, we're all having the same visions. We're all having the same dream. There's something that connects us, all of us, to each other. It's very deep. It's very hard to understand. I don't understand it. I don't claim to. But it's there. And the purpose of this is to try to elucidate upon that. So it may be silly to start with serpents, but that is the intention. Being a serpent means being able to see beyond what you are told the world is. It is to be able to move through the underlying geometry and patterns of reality without losing your form. Even if you are misunderstood, even if you're despised, even if you are hated. It is to see things for as they really are. There's a lot more to serpents, but that's it for now.